Let's talk about data independence. This subject's been coming up quite a bit, and I think RSM is a leader in this area. But how can firms own their own data? Why is it important, and is it even possible?
So I definitely think it's possible. Is it easier said than done? For sure. So I think there's a few approaches that can be done. So right, like if you in-house the technology, it's a little bit easier to own that data. Granted, you still need to take a look at the contracts and see what's in place, right? So if you do tend to switch platforms, how can you export that data? In what file format? To what extent? How do I want to migrate this over? So I do think looking at sort of like your data access rights within contracts, regardless of whether insourcing or outsourcing your services to a third-party provider, is important. So one, I always like to say, start at the contracts. The second way I like to think, and where I'm seeing a lot of family offices begin to explore today, is really around the concept of a data warehouse. And maybe it's more of a data warehouse light. So it's more about focusing on, hey, I might have these disparate systems, and some may be integrated, some may not be integrated, but I've got these underlying source systems. Maybe I've got Yardi because I'm heavily focused on real estate, but I've got a Sage Intact and I've got an Adapar, and maybe I've got Knowledger in place that'll move data between them. Maybe I don't, but they've got these underlying source systems and they're doing what they're intended to do. But now I've got really good data in one, I've got really good data in a second, and really good data in a third. What if I want to swap one of those out? Like, what's going to happen? Am I going to lose that data? How am I going to migrate it? So we're seeing a lot of family offices begin to think about putting a data warehouse in place. So that way they're getting data from these underlying source systems, normalizing it, putting it into a location, and then being able to generate reporting on top of that. So to me, I think that's going to be the greatest way to own and have that data flexibility, because then you can unplug a source system, right? You can swap that out and plug something in, but you've already migrated that data and normalized it into a data warehouse that supported your reporting. So it makes that data migration a little bit easier. Maybe when you put that next system in, you don't need to worry. You just focus more on the opening balances. You don't have to necessarily worry about, do I want to bring 2, 3, 5 years of data into that? Because you've already migrated and brought it into the data warehouse and you're doing your reporting off of that. So it becomes your single source of truth for that historical data, and then can be used prospectively. So I think that is going to be the greatest way for family offices to get that data flexibility. And I know that's part of the value proposition of the all-in-ones as well, as the one central location. And I think that's the right step, but there's always ancillary systems. There's payroll systems, there's SharePoint, there's other operational workflow systems. The data from there can be brought into that data warehouse as well. And you can do not only financial KPIs, but operational KPIs. So I think that's
a great point. I think when it's, you talk about being able to minimize some risk, consolidated holistic reporting. I think, being able to put an AI layer on top of that versus having independent AI point solutions can be able to give you a lot greater insights as well.